good to go.
Drive on.
Tech and 10. Sorry, we need to move in. Tommy Heffernan, Precision Microbes. Welcome back to part 2 of Tech and 10.
Yep, Ryan Duffy from Precision Microbes as well. So what are we doing today, Tommy?
Each week we do a topic under 10 minutes, and today is part 2 of our series. If you haven't watched this, go back and watch the immunity piece. Now we're going to press go on our Tech and 10, and off we go. We're going to talk about a big subject matter, a really important one. Look, we're very biased and we're excited about this area, of course, because it's very key to the microbes, Precision Microbe story, is the gut and the immune system. Mm-hmm. But let's start by, we talked about the immunity last week, how important it is. Over 70% of most animals' immune system is gut-based.
Yes.
So an unhappy gut means an unhappy immune system. But let's explain why 70% of the immune system is in the gut. Why is 70% of the immune system in the gut?
I thought you were going to explain it there. Yeah, it's actually quite clear. You know, if we think of it from a common sense perspective, it makes sense in that this is the part of the body where we're consuming a lot of food. No doubt we're consuming a lot of foreign materials. So that's number one. Number two is, in a calf, for example, it could be 25 to 30 meters long.
So the surface area, it's huge.
Surface area. I think you've often equated that if you were to cut it all out and everything, it would be the size of a tennis court.
A human's one's about roughly the size of a tennis court, yeah, adult human.
So think of that surface area, the amount of foreign antigens that are coming in with our food.
Food, yeah.
And obviously the other side of it is there's only one layer of cells on our mucosa along the gut. That's very good for efficient absorption and removal of waste products from the body, but it's also very easy for bugs to get into the body this way as a consequence. Okay. So it makes sense why 70% of the immune system is there.
Worth repeating, over 70% immune system is in the gut. The gut-associated lymphoid tissue, it's called.
Basically. That's where it's really rich.
Okay, so surface area is huge, one layer of cells, and the microbiome is a key part of that story, whether you're human or an animal. Let's talk about the immune system then. So we're going down to the lumen. This is quite a thick lumen in this gut. There's a bit of inflammation here. But talk to me about what we're looking at before we explain to people how gut function works.
Yeah, so this is the actual whole of the gut. This is where food is going from left to right, from mouth to rear end. So that's pretty much where all these foreign materials are. We have a single layer of cells which make up the mucosal layer, and we have that on both sides here. And then we have the submucosa, which is just underneath that, and that's where a lot of our white blood cells would live. Okay. So that's very important. We also have a muscle layer, which is responsible for, moving the gut. Yeah. Essentially, we know that there's muscle there, and we also have a serosa underneath that, which is very, very important when we talk about very serious diseases in pets and animals. Okay,
right. So let's talk about the gut microbiome. Inside here, the gut microbes, basically trillions of microorganisms, viruses, protozoa, fungi, and bacteria. They're regulating a couple of things. First thing they're regulating is barrier function.
Yes.
So they're regulating barrier function. The microbes are communicating. They're producing things like short-chain fatty acids to get goblet cells to produce butyrate stimulates goblet cells to produce mucin, which protects. So there's a physical slimy layer of protection.
We've talked about in the previous video about innate defenses. This is an innate defense. That's like how would I describe it? It's nearly like a microbial quicksand. So bad bugs will get caught in this mucus, and it's an innate defense, something that's inherently in us to keep bad bugs away.
The other thing that the microbes are regulating is this transelectrical resistance between cells across the cell membranes here, isn't it?
So important. Like these are called tight junctions, keeping these epithelial cells together. We know if they're pulled apart, you're just creating an avenue for bad pathogenic microbes to get in here where we have our bloodstream. Big no-no.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that in a bit. Mm-hmm. So the microbes, the types of immune cells here, and before we talk about cross cells, we've things like dendritic cells, which are kind of very unusual cells. They've got a long stalk. They're antigen-presenting cells. Mm-hmm. You've got a huge array of different immune cells in the gut, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a range of them. I know we only alluded to it a wee bit in the last video, but there's a range of them in here, putting their hands into the lumen to see if there's any bad guys or if everything's all regulated. So as you said, antigen-presenting cells, they're trying to find foreign materials that shouldn't be there. We also have B cells, which are producing antibodies, which again, really important. If we think about antibodies from a health perspective, it's really, really key. We also have T cells, which kill any invading forces, and we have macrophages, which eat them.
Okay, so really important. So immune function is important. 70% of it's here. Now, what gets really interesting and as I learned through this Precision Microbes story, is the gut microbes, the beneficial microorganisms. Let's start with a eubiotic and healthy gut. There's crosstalk and signaling between the gut microbes and the immune system.
Yes.
And this is where you get shifts in the microbiota, dysbiosis, narrowing, lowering of diversity, stress in the gut, severe cases, calf scour, or diarrhea in pets, or whatever it might be. Gut microbes get severely shifted. There's crosstalk. So they're signaling, the gut microbes are producing metabolites. You may have heard us talk about probiotics and postbiotics, producing metabolites that are regulating immune function. Mm-hmm. And that crosstalk is really, really key, because more often than not, they're down-regulating inflammation. To me, in simple terms, they're telling the immune system everything's okay in a healthy microbiota.
Yeah, and it's like, think of it, the amount of stuff that's coming in for them to be really, really efficient at seeing what's good and what's bad, to make sure inflammation isn't taking off, is really, really important. 70% of the
immune system,
it's in the gut. So we need to make sure that it's working really, really well.
So a healthy gut microbiome correlates, and that's the physical interaction between immune function here. What's really important to understand is when you get dysregulation, and this is where you can get it in acute diseases, diarrheas, but particularly we see it in ourselves, horses and pets, with chronic inflammation. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's happening with chronic inflammation? When the gut microbe diversity is going down, there's all sorts of colors going on here. The gut microbiome diversity is going down. There's dysregulation, and you're getting inflammation in the lumen. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about in other videos again, but that actually is a gut-lung axis, the gut-brain axis, the gut-skin axis. Gut-brain is really important when we understand this inflammation. But this inflammation here, because 70% of your immune system's focus, it drains resources. It's so important when we look at chronic disease, even acute disease.
Mm-hmm. Well, think of it like maintenance requirements. If we're talking about production animals, for example, we want to keep them low so that everything that's going towards production is being maximized. So if we have these sort of infectious agents or immune stimulation happening all of the time, our maintenance requirements are going up. So we're feeding animals more to actually just maintain themselves.
Okay, so when we think about leaky gut, then this is, if you're talking about your dogs, your cats, people hear more about leakiness, that transelectrical resistance between cells is decreased. Often the mucous layer protecting cells is depleted, mm-hmm. and we get the translocation of antigens causing a lot of, so that's where you get the physical barrier being removed, the reduction, but also when you've got harmful pathogens and diversity, it causes inflammation. And if you look at most chronic disease issues we see now, both humans, pets and horses, they're all related to an increase in inflammation and chronic inflammation.
And that's because of an imbalance. More harmful microbes that aren't efficient at communicating, and less beneficial microbes which are good at communicating, but there's less of them. So that's essentially creating an inflammatory cascade, or dysregulation of the inflammatory cascade.
And that's really important when you look at, people will talk about brain issues now and mental health issues. They'll talk about it as an inflammatory condition being linked to the gut. Again, when we see a lot of gut issues, we see it in horses, in dogs, we can see skin-related issues.
Atopic dermatitis, for example, in dogs and stuff like that, yeah.
Lung function. So a lot of the short-chain fatty acids that have been produced by the microbes, there's actually a lung-gut axis. They're actually regulating immune function here as well. So if you talk about gut health, there's a guy called Hippocrates, the godfather of modern medicine. He said all health begins in the gut. Let food be thy medicine. So it comes back to explaining and understanding that, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it's really important.
So when we think about leaky gut and dysbiosis, anything we can do, be it nutrition, this is where Precision Microbes comes in by regulating and stabilizing, supporting good gut health function. Mm. And we've seen this across, Ryan, even trials we did before you arrived on, you've seen the data, reduction of antibiotics on calves, reduction of disease, not the elimination, but the reduction. Because if you're supporting gut health, all health begins in the gut, health from the inside out, it helps overall immune function.
Yes, it trickles down to pretty much every component of the immune system.
Absolutely. So that's why gut health and immunity are so important. The gut-associated lymphoid tissue, we're trying to regulate immune function, the barrier, the transelectrical resistance, and anything else you want to add?
No, I think you've covered it fairly well there, Tommy, to be fair, for overview of the gut health. So.
And immune function. So go back to part 1 if you haven't seen it. This is part 2, the gut and immune function. You'll see all Precision Microbes products are designed and supported to optimize gut health. Be it pets, calves, horses, pigs. We have a whole range of microbial solutions there. And that's why it's so important. That's why we're seeing the results that we're seeing.